Hello everyone, and welcome to my Duel Today official news channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The spoilers for Monday, December 4's episode of Days of Our Lives indicate that Darius Rose, also known as Jackie Cox, knocked on Dmitri von Leuschner's door and reminded him of their first encounter on DOL, Beyond Salem. Leo Stark, who was meant to help Darius obtain a green card, was the person Darius was harboring resentment towards after he left their marriage proposal to pursue Craig Wesley. Leo caught himself before Darius could earn the prize and put him in jail, despite Darius's best efforts to do so. Darius now intended to provide Dmitri with a ticket to freedom in order to ensure that Leo remained alone and miserable in prison. As it happens, Darius was ready to zoom Dmitri over the border into Canada in an automobile. The idea was for Dmitri to pose as Diane von Fabulous, while wearing drag to avoid being identified by the police. Even though Darius made a very alluring offer, Dmitri declined to post bail for Leo and eventually made his way to the police station because Sloan Peterson Brady was arranging a deal wherein Leo would be released provided Dmitri gave himself in. Nicole Walker Demira gushed about how happy she was to get the DNA results at the hospital, certain that they would demonstrate that the adopted child of Sloan and Eric Brady was indeed her son. Though Eric said it was okay because he didn't actually think the DNA findings would support Nicole's assertions, Nicole finally came to the realization that she was being egotistical and unconsidering of his sentiments. Nicole was infuriated by the revelation since she thought Eric was treating her like a crazy person. Nicole yelled at Eric about his cunning wife and said that Sloan could have pulled this off with ease, even though Eric didn't understand how it would even be feasible. Nicole offered to leave the baby at Kayla Johnson's office while Eric reviewed the DNA results, but Eric became very irate and insisted on bringing the baby with him. Since Dmitri was the bigger fish here, Sloan urged E.J. Demira to exchange Leo for him when they met at the Salem Police Department. The sole condition was that the murder charge had to be avoided. E.J. gave in and had the papers prepared since he still had a ton of other charges he could use against Dmitri. Leo needed some persuading. But Sloan maintained that Dmitri truly intended to make this sacrifice for Leo. That meant that Dmitri would have to serve time in prison instead. But Sloan convinced Leo to agree by framing it as a loving gesture. But when Sloan received a call from Eric regarding the upcoming DNA test, she lost it. Eric claimed the baby was fine and pretended that this would finally put Nicole's concerns to rest, despite Sloan's insistence that she didn't consent to an unneeded treatment. Leo was instructed to sign the agreement that EJ had brought him once Sloan disconnected. Sloan had to attend to an emergency in the interim, or else her life would end. Leo questioned whether he was allowed to leave after signing EJ's paperwork. Not until Leo's boyfriend arrived and demonstrated his skepticism that Dmitri would truly show up, according to EJ, but Dmitri did show up a short while later. On Monday's episode of Days, back at the hospital, Sloan barged into Kayla's office and began yelling at her about the results of the DNA test. Nicole observed that Sloan was running over there like a bat out of hell, and she surmised that this was probably because Sloan was going to reveal his secret. Nicole made it apparent that this was not Sloan's first experience, despite her attempts to argue and offer explanations. Eventually, Eric came back carrying the kid and the results of the DNA test, and Sloan understood it was too late to prevent him from obtaining them. On Monday's episode of Days, Tate Black tried to stop Channel Dupree from leaving the town square for as long as he could, but Channel eventually returned to the bar. Tate sent Holly Jonas a text to alert her, but Holly chose to ignore it because Johnny needed to talk to her while Channel was away. Holly appeared upbeat until Johnny disclosed that he needed her assistance in organizing a surprise anniversary party for Channel. When Holly brought up Johnny's divorce, he argued that it was a terrible thing to happen and that he wanted a lady to prepare something truly wonderful. Holly reluctantly accepted because Johnny thought she would be the ideal candidate for the position. In the following Monday's episode, Channel returned just as Holly was placing her hand over Johnny's. Channel called Holly out on her crush on Johnny while Johnny moved aside to take the phone call. Channel said it was clear that Holly was infatuated with Johnny, despite Holly's attempts to be foolish. Channel, of course, argued that nothing could ever happen because Johnny was her stepbrother and too old for Holly. Channel also made the point that Holly could never be with Johnny because he was committed to her instead, and she hoped Holly would see this. Channel was completely off track, Holly claimed, and she had been lying about her crush for Tate. Channel was perplexed, but Holly said that Tate had turned her down because Brady Black wouldn't allow him to have many social interactions because he had been involved in problems. Holly claimed that she was only telling Channel that she couldn't be with Tate because Brady wouldn't let him date when Johnny and Tate showed up. Tate threw an arm around Holly, who was obviously upset with this development, and piped in that he really didn't care what Brady thought anymore. Stay tuned for updates on their teen love story, as spoilers from Days of Our Lives indicate that Holly's affections for Tate will alter soon. According to spoilers for Wednesday, December 6th episode of Days of Our Lives, Harris Michaels and Ava Vitali will enjoy their first date and learn a little bit more about one another. Ava will dish up some delectable food on a private night at the bistro, and in exchange, she will be treated to a dance with Harris. Even though Ava and Harris will close their evening together on a positive tone, there will soon be serious problems for this pair. Days teasers indicate that Wendy Shin would talk to Trip Johnson about her loss in the interim. Wendy will have a difficult time getting over her grief and realizing that Lei Shin is truly gone forever. Gabby Hernandez de Merit is behind bars awaiting trial, which may give Wendy some peace of mind. But Gabby isn't actually to blame for Leigh's demise. Days spoilers suggest that fresh information will eventually clear Gabby's reputation, but for now, she will have to endure more misery. Stefan Demira will have a heated altercation in the town square with Chad Demira. Chad would lash out at Stefan for shoving E.J. Demira out of Demira Enterprises, but Stefan might counter by saying that E.J. placed Gabby in jail, even if she wasn't guilty. Rafe Hernandez and Jada Hunter, Elia Cantu, will then need to provide an explanation on Wednesday's DOL episode. Given that Jada and Rafe will be decking the halls together, that could lead to some amusing situations involving their Christmas decor. According to teasers for other days, Stephanie Johnson and Everett Lynch will learn something that surprises them both. That seems to entail confirming that Chad has taken over as the Spectator's new co-owner, and that he persuaded Sander Cook to fire Everett. Stay tuned for updates on the unfavorable news that's on its way for Chad, as it won't be long before Stephanie corners him and wants answers. According to spoilers for Days of Our Lives, Everett's route to a reconciliation with Stephanie will remain convoluted despite the huge explosion of Chad and Stephanie's passion. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, so please don't forget to subscribe my channel and don't miss any update.